morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Great to see everyone after Labor Day here. We have the early move down. The early move down here starting Sunday afternoon with selling pressure again at the London Open, and again right now, new lows here as we head into the RTH Open. This is a pullback within a highly bullish trend that we've seen, but the key level that we're going to want to really watch here is that 63.80 zone right there. 63.80 is the previous month's midpoint. We could drop as deep as that zone or thereabouts and then perhaps bounce it back up the range to keep things still range bound, but you fail here at 63.80 and you start to open up a move into the previous month's low. That's going to be around that 62.50 zone. And as of right now, any drop into 6,200 to 6,250 will be seen as a nice short-term opportunity to bring it back up for 350 or maybe even 400 points back up. Now, if we fail at 6,200 in a meaningful way with a transitional style break through that zone, that opens up a push that can take us back to year-to-date VWAP and much, much lower. So we're going to see how we begin September here. For today, still trending down, very clear unidirectional bearish trend in play. Hard to fade into this weakness right now unless you see a strong low develop. And right now, any pullback could still be seen as selling opportunity until proven otherwise. You need a really strong low to kind of fade into this move. At some point, we may find a morning low that gives us a little bit of a bounce back, and a range-bound pattern with a downward bias may develop. But again, 63.80, the big level to watch here, not just from kind of a beginning of the week type of level, but also a level for the month. You know, we're closing below this level later this month. That could be huge as we head into Q4. So keeping an eye on this zone here very, very closely. Looking at the NQ, this one's down right now, and look at this one here. This one closed the month near the midpoint of the month. The previous high of the month is here. Previous low of the month way down here, 22,775 is that level. And that was the first trading day of August. Hard day down, and then we bounce back up, and then back down, back up, and so forth. To take out that midpoint of last month, very bearish. Highly directional intraday trend right now. Again, bears have the upper hand. Hard to fade into this weakness unless you see a very strong low. At some point, we could see that strong low that brings us back up, but again, the directional conviction is down. We've taken out the previous month's midpoint already, which would suggest a test at the previous month's low, 22,775. And like I mentioned with the ES, if we do drop into that zone, that could be an opportunity for bulls to defend somewhere between 22.5 and 22.8 for a good rejection and a snap back to the midpoint of the range, maybe even across the range. Now you start to fail at 22.5 and it opens up quite a bit more downside. So we'll see how deep this pullback becomes. All right, looking at crude oil. This one's up 2.7% here. Big time push to the upside. Is this a recovery of the 64 level finally? We've been talking about that 64 level for a while. Can we recover? We got up here and pulled back and say, okay, now we need through 65 here to really open things up. If we can open things up through 65, it'll open up 67 and change. That's where value is. That's year-to-date value by way of VWAP and the 200-day moving average. And then you have to the top of the range here that can take you to recent highs between 70 and 71.50 right in that zone. So we could be looking at a very bullish follow-through to the upside if prices can maintain these gains. The next day could be a pullback right here into 64.85. That could be a bounce and continuation to the upside. So we'll see if this thing can carry on. Again, the upside has been very, very limited in crude oil lately. It's been very easy to sell after strength. So proceed with caution to the upside here, but any pullback could be a decent buying opportunity if it can withstand this breakout through 65s. Okay, let's take a look at gold futures. This one's up 1% right now. Pretty big move for the day. And look at this continuation to the upside. We've mentioned before, this thing really needs to prove it to the upside. It's been proving it here for the last couple of weeks in a big way. I mentioned keep an eye on the 3450 level, because if we get to 3450 on that day here, do we fail back down? That's been kind of how this thing is played out for numerous months. And instead, on a Friday here, big time push to the upside. And then here today, a big push to the upside, overnight high, 35.78. That's a big time level. Right now, a little bit of an intraday head and shoulders developing on the 60-minute time frame. So we may be putting in a little bit of a top up here near term, but a big time push nonetheless. Very, very strong. Higher value relationship heading into the new month, and already new highs. So any pullback could still be a buying opportunity until proven otherwise. 3450 will be the big level here. We could pull back as deep as 3450. Can bulls keep it bid for an expansion out of this range, or do we fall just back into the range per usual? So watching this edge very, very closely here in gold. Looking at the YM, right here you'll notice the YM been trending higher for the most part, but over the last week, very, very quiet range. Today here, outside day down, breaking through multiple day lows. You'll notice right here, previous month's midpoint way down here, 44,650, whereas the NQ is already through its midpoint. The ES is approaching its midpoint, so all very different closes against their respective mids last month. Right now, to take the previous close offered right away would suggest some pullback here, and then you want to see how price responds on that pullback. Is there another buy the dip opportunity, or do we fail and open up the previous lows? Going to be interesting here early on. But right now, early selling pressure, still a downtrend, bears controlling the trend. Any intraday pullback could still be a selling opportunity until proven otherwise, meaning until we find a strong low. Do we find a strong low near 45,200 today? It means we may have at least another 80 points down, and then we may start to find some intraday lows. All right, looking at Bitcoin, this one's up 1.1% right now. And again, this one has seen a little bit more elongation to the downside. It has had some very heavy bearish moves, and the counter trend moves have been lackluster so far. Today, this 1% move, a bit lackluster. You're seeing prices above the previous session's midpoint be offered already. A clear downtrend still in play. The other thing you'll notice is the midpoint of the previous month way up there. Way up here, and the close is way down here for the month. The high is way up there. That is indicative of any strength early in this month could be a selling opportunity for new lows. So are we going to see another round of lows here for Bitcoin this month? How low do we go? If we get sub 100K, it could be a very good near-term bounce, but we get a little bit deeper. Can we get to 95K or even a little bit deeper? That could provide a tremendous Q4 rally opportunity up ahead. So we'll see how deep it goes. It all starts with the previous quarter's close here, failing there, and you open up a bit more downside, holding there, and you stave off a little bit of weakness for now. Looking at ETH, this one's down marginally right now. It has been highly bullish within this uptrend. It's holding at the upper end of this larger key range right now. Can we see another round of strength right away here, back within this range toward 5,000, or do we give up 4,200? 4,200 would be an early level to give up. That would open up a return, perhaps as deep as 3,400 this month. You get a push back to 3,400, that could open up a little short-term opportunity back up across the range. But where's the longer-term entry? We're still watching 3,100 at the very least. 3,100 would offer a tremendous Q4 opportunity. Do we get that low here up ahead? So keep an eye on this right now. Still in the range here. until proven otherwise. You start to break through 4,200 and you may have a bit deeper pullback coming up ahead for ETH. All right, that's it for now. As we start the week, we have some big time levels, economic data points coming up down the road, including NFP report on Friday, ADP non-farm employment change on a Thursday, Beige Book on a Wednesday, and President Trump speaks later on this afternoon at 1 o'clock p.m. Central. So we have a little something every day for some volatility this week. Could be a nice week to get started here ahead of the month to come. All right, everyone, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the trading room later this morning. Take care. I'll see you in the room.